Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. Let's do this as we begin. If you have never joined us, here's what we do. See this right here? We always hear from you. Love to hear from you. Let us know where you're joining us from, what you're excited about, what you feel life and momentum on. If I sound a little bit hoarse, well, it's because we just did a I don't know, we did a major blitz this weekend. We did Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3-day certification training through our boot camp program. And a lot of coaches joined me in that. It was an amazing weekend, but I'm a little bit hoarse. That's a lot of talking. It's 7 sessions. We do 2 hours a session with Q&As, and we do role playing and all kinds of stuff like that. And so it's a lot of work, but I'm still here, and I wanted to still come today and be with you guys. But we decided to do a Q&A rather than doing, new content and everything else. See, I'm a little bit hoarse, like I told you. But next week, we'll be back with our Vision series, and that'll be great. Let me say hello to a few people who are saying hello to me. Ashley is saying hello from Houston. Brian is joining us from Colorado. Diane is joining us from South Carolina. Bobby, hey, how's it going, Bobby? He's a California person joining us and saying thank you for continuing to provide training and inspiration. You rock. Thank you. Who else do I need to say hello to? Oh, I see Kathleen in there giving some smiley faces. Who else do I need to say hello to? Natasha from Baltimore. Excited to be here. Good to see you, Natasha. Virginia is in the house. I recognize the origin of your name because my last name is Dabdoub. Actually, it should be pronounced Dabdoub, since that's the way that it's pronounced in the Middle East. But I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation of your name, though I do recognize its origin, since it's probably near where the origin of my name is. So good. Hey, if you're just making it in, I have not started yet. I'm about to jump in. So let us know that you are here. Make sure you say hello to us. Tell us where you're joining us from, what you're excited about. And also, this is a live Q&A. That's what we're doing today, folks. Live Q&A. My wife says I need to update my pictures because I don't look like that anymore. I think I look like that. My wife says I look younger. I don't know what that means. Maybe. So anyway, start putting your questions into the chat widget right now. Inside you can put a comment inside of Facebook, or if you're joining us on YouTube, you can jump into the chat and pop it right in there and let us know what your questions are. And we always try to do the best that we can to serve you on these Monday nights. Again, let us know that you're here. Jump inside, say hello to us, tell us where you're joining us from. Again, I'm all the way over here in a studio in California, so I don't get the pleasure of seeing your face or hearing your voice. So the next best thing is you just letting us know that you're here. Also, do me a huge favor. Like this post and share it. Tells Facebook and YouTube that we're doing a good job. And if you've ever joined us on a Monday night, you know that we don't do fluff. We're always trying to help you during these times grow as a coach and also grow your coaching practice. So anything related to coaching skills, throw it in there. If there's anything that you need help with, anything related to launching your coaching practice, acquiring clients, any of those things, any challenges and struggles you're having over there, throw that into the comments and we will do our best to answer it for you. Having said all of that, let's go ahead and jump in to a question that was sent in ahead of time. And here is the question. Do you believe it's necessary to specialize as a coach? This is a very interesting question. And for those of you who have been around for a little while, you probably have a good idea what my answer is going to be. Do I believe it's necessary? So I appreciate that, because you're asking me if I believe it's necessary. Well, here's what I think. I think a couple of different things. One is any business, any kind of service that is out there. And if you think of anything like, I mean, years ago, you could just go to a doctor and it's like, oh, I just went to the doctor and they seem to know a little bit about everything. But anything that is in the service related industry has increasingly become more and more specialized. So that's why if you've got a little sniffle, you can go see your family doctor. If you have anything much beyond that, then they're going to refer you out for something else, right? And I think that that's really where the world has gone, to understand that if you have specific problems that are occurring in your life, specific challenges, specific needs, then you find someone who understands those specific challenges and needs, and that's why you would choose a specialist. So for one answer is that I would give you is that most people expect specialization these days as well. Second thing that I would say about it comes from really a practical understanding of niches and those kinds of things. And for that, I'm going to grab a little whiteboard and have a nice little picture here that would probably help you probably have your own answer um, for this. So let's imagine, I got a little picture here. Let's imagine in this picture right here, we've got a piece of real estate, very nice looking building for the most part. And as we're looking at this building, there's no sign on it. It's really nondescript. See, there's no signage. There's doors. It's a pretty nice looking building. There's nothing on the windows. There's nothing on that awning up there. There's nothing except a building. Now, if you had this building and you were looking for customers for your business, do you think that this would be the best way to attract your customers? And I'm guessing not. Would you just pull up and assume that this business had anything that you needed? Let's say that you were looking for motor oil for your car. Would you just take a shot in the dark and drive up and walk in and ask for motor oil? And would you be surprised if they did not have it in there? Would you just, as a shot in the dark, say, this is a really nice building, I wonder what they do in there, and just assume and pull up and go in there? I mean, you'd have to assume that probably is this maybe a 1 out of 1,000 shot that someone's going to go in there? And you'd probably be right to assume. I mean, there's probably somebody who works around there that might be interested, and maybe they'll walk in there, just ask the question, well, what exactly are you guys doing here? I'm just curious. But you're not going to attract your customers to this building. And this is the way that I believe that specialization is for coaching. Is that I believe that calling yourself a life coach with no qualifiers in it is just as effective as attracting customers to this building. You might have some great stuff inside there. You might have something really brilliant. You might actually be really able to help people, but we will never know that, because life coach is pretty much as general as having a building. You know what would make all the difference on this building? You know what would immediately tell people what is in this building? You know what would immediately keep the wrong people out of the building? You know what would immediately eliminate any kind of confusion? Because have you ever been to a shopping area and they gave you the address of the building and you were like all confused because you're looking at the number, but you're looking at it, and I'm like, are they actually in there? And you're like walking through the parking lot all confused. You've probably been one of those people. I believe that your clients are looking for you. I believe that they're already out there, but it is your job to help them. And I don't believe that this helps get a customer, and I don't believe being a generalist life coach helps find your clients either. What would make all of the difference is what? Well, it'd be a sign. And so here's the sign. Wouldn't this make all the difference if somebody saw this and if they were looking for a dentist, or if they knew the name of the dentistry, which I'm going to keep covering up there? It's not enough to have this nifty surfboard toothbrush there. We need something a little more specific. And see, this is not just a dentist's office, because here's what happens with this. This is a specialized dentist office. This is going to prevent the wrong people from coming in here. For the most part, they say pediatrics is what? It's under age 18 for the most part. So what this is going to prevent is people who are over 18 from walking in the building, because not only are people who are looking for the building going to be able to find it, the people who are driving by aren't going to stumble in there with a toothache if they do not fit within this category. So that's another layer that I would say. I believe that your ideal clients are actually looking for you. But if we just go out there, because what is life coaching? Well, I don't know that most people know. Life is about this big. Life's gigantic. I remember years ago, I was in this networking group and everybody was going around, giving their 1-minute pitch. So if you've never been to networking groups, a lot of times people will some of them will do that. They'll give a time where everybody can kind of do a 1-minute pitch about their business. And so they get to this one guy and he says that he's an attorney. And then he says, I do criminal law and I do divorce and I do accidents. And he names off all of these things. And, I couldn't help but to sit there and thinking, like, this guy sounds like a jack of all trades. If I was looking for a injury attorney, I'm going to look for somebody who says, I specialize in being an injury attorney and I've helped all of these people get their cases settled, and sometimes they'll show them like, I got this big check for my people or whatever. So you assume that when you see somebody, and especially with a check, you see the result that they're getting. They were sad from being injured, but now they have a check that they are happy on this side. See, I want to see associations with things. But if somebody just says, I'm an attorney, and they have all of these checklists, well, I believe that that's what generalized life coaching does, is that it doesn't feature you. And honestly, if you don't have a door with a sign, then no one knows how to find you and they don't connect with what you have to offer. Now, the follow-up question is, past that is, well, how do you choose a specialty? How do you choose what we call a niche? And I'm going to give you some basic guidelines on this. And I've grabbed this slide off of one of our product launch blueprint slides from the very first session that we do. One of the things that I do as a coach trainer inside of our Jumpstart program is I'm helping coaches really narrow this thing, get really clear in terms of who their ideal client is. And I know that many of you don't know. You haven't really thought in great detail about that. And I've done a lot of, you can look on our YouTube, I've done a lot of videos around niche. Also, if you go on our website, ilifecoachtraining.com, I have various in-depth ways that you can look at this in terms of how to choose a niche and those kinds of things. But here's what it is in a nutshell. And I've got this nifty graphic to be able to help us figure that out. When it comes to choosing a niche, so we got the niche in the middle. And what I really believe that all of you should really, if you haven't decided on what your niche is supposed to be, really niche in a nutshell. And I'll show you the things that absolutely have to be included inside of your niche. One of those really big things that you absolutely have to have within your niche, and I'm going to see if I can get a better color that'll show up. I think it first starts with your people. And when I say it starts with your people, really what I mean by that is that just because one of the things that is usually argued and talked about with life coaching is, well, you can work with anybody and you can help people with any problem. And while that is true, just because you can help anyone, does that mean that you should help anyone? And I don't believe that you should. When I started out as a coach, I didn't know I was afraid to narrow anything because I always felt like, well, that's going to keep people from wanting to work with me, and it would push people away. But that's actually not true at all. When you put up the sign, you attract people because people see the sign and they're like, oh, I know where I'm supposed to go. When you don't have a sign, now you're not attracting anybody. And so, when it comes to people, I believe that there are going to be people that, well, if you looked in your history, there's probably people who, well, they motivate you to be around them as very motivational. I think that that's really important. You know why? Because there are some people who demotivate you. Aren't there some personality types that you don't seem to gel with? So, would you coach somebody that you don't really gel with? So, I don't want to show up to work because some of you have shown up to work over the years, and there are certain personality types that you didn't really gel with and you didn't really enjoy working with. So, would you do that again as a coach when it's your own business? No. So think about the people that motivate you. I would also ask the question, who are the people that demotivate you? I'd also ask the question of, who are the people that you are passionate about working with, that you're passionate about helping? Because there are probably some kinds of people that stick out to you when you think about that. That's like, oh, I really come to life when I am around these kinds of people, and I love helping these people. So some of you, that might be moms, it might be 20 somethings, it might be teenagers, it could be anybody really. It might be professionals, might be working moms. I don't know, but think about those people. The other thing that I would say in this, when it comes to the people, is, well, who are the people that you have a history helping already? So think about the people who seem to show up in your life. Now, I'm not talking about the vampire kinds of people. Like, I'm not talking about people who are energy vampires. They always show up in your life and you just happen to be this person and they suck you dry. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people who show up in your life that for some reason they just know that you're a go-to person. The kinds of people, what is it about them? So there's usually a type around that. Matter of fact, if you did a workup on all of these people, you know what you could probably tell me? You could tell me a lot, generally speaking. You could probably picture them. They probably have a name. Sometimes in business and marketing and sales, they'll say a client avatar. So this person probably has a name. So if you think about those people, you might even know what their names are. It could be like Claire, Mary, and Sophie, or something like that. And you can probably say, in general, they're about age 32, and they work on the corporate level, and they're unsatisfied with the kind of work that they are doing, but they are perfectionist types. Like, you could probably write down a lot of different things. You can tell me a lot about their personality and everything else. Do a workup on your people to start. Second thing that I think is most important besides your people, and these other things will be additional things, is that I think that your coaching has to have a problem to attract people to it. Problems sell. People buy solutions to problems. And if you don't have a problem, it's going to be really, really hard to sell that. You know what most coaches sit around trying to sell? Self-actualization. Most coaches spend their time trying to sell self-esteem, try to sell life purpose, or live your best life. The coaches who do that struggle to ever find clients because that is not the problem that every day is gnawing on them. It's not the problem that they are thinking. That's not their highest priority problem in their life. There's some other area of their life that they are aware of that is named something. It's got a name about it. And what could that name be? It might be something that's unsatisfactory in their relationship with their spouse, you know? So it could be intimacy in relationships. It could be perfectionism. It could be like one of our coaches, and I was talking about that this weekend with our boot camp crew. One of our coaches was not only a parent coach, which seems like a specialization, But she further dialed it in to not just coach of a mom, but specifically moms who have the problem of yelling at their kids and they hate it. What's the problem? The problem is that they feel guilty about it and they want to be better, and but things are chaotic, and so they're trying to get their kid to listen, and then they yell, but then they feel guilty because they yell. And there's all of this. There's this thing called mom guilt. So the specialization was specifically for the problem of yelling at kids. And the solution is, hey, what if you could feel like a nurturer, and things are you've got things under control that you never yell again or whatever. So one of our coaches specialized in that. Well, here's the thing is that people do not buy, they're not looking for live your best life. That's not a quality problem in someone's life. And it's easier to sell someone to solve a problem than it is just something out there that's just a desire. Pain is a greater motivator than pleasure. So, what's the pain that your people have an awareness of every day of their life? We need to have something that is that there's a real, this is a real pain. And when I say that, I'm not talking about brokenness. I'm talking about every day. This is an annoyance. It's obnoxious. They're aware of it. They are they're interested in doing something about it. And the level of urgency of getting rid of it makes them really apt to do something about it. And what I would say is that we want we want this to be a high quality problem, because money goes to high quality problems. Think about it. If I'll give you an example like this. When I was growing up, and every time that I would get sick and I'd have a head cold or anything else, and they would give me an antibiotic, they would always give me amoxicillin. And it's been around forever. And they would say, okay, well, here's your bottle of amoxicillin. It would, no joke, be gigantic. And they'd say, there's 732 pills in here. Don't fit. You have to take every one of them. Don't stop taking them because the sickness could come back. And you're going to get all of these for a quarter. And it was a ridiculously cheap antibiotic that's been around forever. And so I'd get it, and it's like you're taking your antibiotic forever. And it's like 10 days before you start feeling anything and feel any better. And you wonder if the amoxicillin did anything for you. Well, when I was in high school, I believe it was when I was in high school, I go to this new doctor. And I'm just assuming it's going to be the same old amoxicillin because I've heard it my entire life or whatever. And I'm ready to be probably going to be sick for about 2 more weeks or whatever. And I remember the guy was like, and I've written you a prescription for a Z-Pack. And I'm like, ooh, a Z-Pack. Sounds like a superhero. A Z-Pack? What's that? And he was like, well, it's this antibiotic. And here's the way that you take it. You take the first one tonight, and then you're going to take, to get you started, you're basically taking 2 within 24 hours. And then there's only 3 more pills. Like, 3 more pills? And well, there's only 4 pills, and it's going to cost you $30 with your copay and everything. I'm like, $30? I'm used to paying a quarter over here or a nickel over here for amoxicillin, and I get a bunch of pills for that. Like, no. You're going to take 4. That's it. Just make sure you take all of them. And it's going to be $30, and you're going to be feeling better in about 2 or 3 days. And you're like, okay, do I want to pay a quarter or a nickel for 700 pills, be sick for 2 weeks? Or do I want to be sick for 2 days or 3 days, start feeling better in 2 to 3 days, and take 3 or 4 pills, but I'm going to have to pay a lot more money for it? I'm going to pay a lot more money because I want my problem solved and I want to get out of pain. This is the exact same principle here, is that pain is a greater motivator for pleasure. And if it's a high quality problem, then people will actually buy the solution to it. And knowing that there is a people and a problem, that's the best way. I mean, look at the sign back over here. Just as a reminder, if you guys got here late, this is what we were looking at. We said earlier, what's the easiest way to get a customer? Is it this? Or would it be that we actually put a sign on the place that we can see what they actually do in here. And I think we all agreed that the sign will find the people who are looking for you or did not know that you existed before you came. Like, I didn't know that there was an answer to this problem. I don't know how many moms had the problem that this particular coach was helping with the whole yelling at kids thing. I don't know how big of a problem that is. I know she was crushing it and she had plenty of business. So, third thing that I would say, because I would say that all coaching, let me see, as my stuff moved away. All coaching needs what? It needs a people. We got to have a people. Oh, I don't like that yellow. I can't see anything. Can you give me like a real pin here? There we go. All coaching. Oh, I don't like it. Let me get a real color here. Give me a tough old red color or something like that, or something. Here, just give me this white. There we go. So all coaching needs a people. Uh-oh. How did that happen? Well, it's wanting to. There we go. All coaching, what does it need? Well, it needs a people that need it, and then they got to have a problem. But there's some other things that you can leverage as well as an individual that you've probably not thought about. As you're trying to come up with your niche, one of the places that I would say that you should look into your experiences. Look back in your life of all of the giants that you've faced and you've been victorious over. Look at all the dragons that you've killed. Reverse engineer the process on some of those things. There are places in your life that you've had victory, and maybe those victories were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Well, here's the thing, is that there's a group of people that haven't taken the first step towards those kinds of things, and they have no idea, like they're facing that giant for the first time in their life. And it would be brilliant if there was someone who had already gone out before them and had slain this giant before. So look back in your experiences. Experiences is another way that we can help, because I would say if you can combine all of these things, then it can really clarify what your niche is. So think of your people. What did we say about your people? People you're most passionate about, people that motivate you, the people that you really like, the people who keep showing up in your life that you've always helped. That gives you a great indicator of who's already attracted to you anyway. Second thing is a problem. What's the common problem that all of these people are facing? And not just a common problem, but we need a specific problem. Specific problems that are high quality, that what? People would pay money to solve it. Third thing, look back in your experiences. Where do you already have a path to victory that you've carved out in your life? Those things can really help you. Fourth thing, what knowledge do you have? What are things that you know that are just really, really, it's uncommon to have the knowledge that you have about certain issues, certain areas of life or whatever. Some of you are total geeks about certain kinds of things, and you geek out about them like crazy. That's a good place to begin to look, because knowledge is going to already set you apart as an authority in particular areas. And many of you are underestimating yourself when it comes to your knowledge. Here's another thing that I would say. Many of you are trying to become a coach and you're like, I don't have any credibility because I've never coached anybody before. Well, do you have knowledge about something? Do you already have a prior experience? Are there problems that you love helping people solve that you've solved in your own life? See, these are the things that give you credibility as a coach, not how long you've been coaching. It's like anything. If you were a specialist as a mechanic and the only thing that you wanted to make your shop about was oil changes, aren't oil changes simple? Can't you watch YouTube and change your own oil if you really, really wanted to? Oil changes are one of the simplest things in the world to go and do. Because what do? I learned this in college. You go in, you drain the oil, because you take the oil plug out, you take the filter off, and you take the little thing off the top, the little cover whatever, the lid, whatever you call that. You unscrew it, you let it all drain out. Then what do you do after it drains out? You put the plug back in, you put the new filter in, you pour the new oil in, you close it up, and you start it, and you test to make sure that the oil is right. Now, I know all of that, and I know it's simple. Have I ever changed oil before in my life? I haven't. I never have. I'm not interested in it. Oil change minimum for an oil change is going to be about $40, $50 in most cases. And if you want a 10-minute oil change, then you're going to charge even more, and it's going to cost you more. But what is it? It's a high quality problem. It's an ongoing problem that I have to get solved. And I would rather find somebody who's going to get me in and out than just to go to some garage and say, well, I'm going to be behind this line of cars that are getting God knows what done to them. So again, high quality problem that's relevant to people. You can choose one problem, right? Wrap your coaching around that, and you don't have to come up with anything else if you don't want to. A couple of other things that you probably haven't considered. What are the areas where you have skill that you could actually bring towards this? So I'm thinking of one of our coaches. Her name's Joan Raymond. She's a writing coach. And it's funny, her story is amazing because she went back to college and got a master's degree later in life. It's almost like she did a second career and a bunch of other things. So she published books later on in life and everything else. So she's got a phenomenal story. So she understands things about perfectionism and self-doubt and all kinds of different things. And she understands also every step along the way, every problem, every fear, every self-doubt issue, all those things, everything that confronts writers, because she's walked it out. And for many of the writers that she's working with have never published a book before in their life. And so she's able to add a skill into all of those things. And you know what all these things do is they combine to create a niche, and the niche creates a sign for your business and attracts the ideal client and enables you to build a coaching practice that can really serve a lot of people. So with that was a big question that I gave a very big nuanced answer to. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. This is so helpful. I appreciate that. A couple of other things that I'm seeing in here. Deborah says, is there a minimum commitment time you'd ask of clients? I mostly think of this from a business perspective more than anything. I would say minimum 90 days, because I don't want people, I don't believe in onesies and twosies when it comes to working with people. I don't think that anybody's going to get major change and anybody's going to get significant breakthrough, nor do I think that that's a goal, a true goal in someone's life. And I'm looking for commitment from people that they actually want to put in the work. Change is not easy. So they want to show up. They're highly motivated. There's something significant in their life that they want. They're willing to put in the work, and they're willing to invest time and money to do it. And I would say this as well. People, generally speaking, will be on their best behavior in the first month. Once you get to like month 2, month 3 is when you start seeing people's patterns of self-sabotage, limiting beliefs, all kinds of things like that. Because me as a coach, I'm not out simply to help people achieve goals. People can behave themselves, and you can use the accountability track for a little while and get some results. That does not mean that that person's getting transformation. It just means that they're going to get a goal and they're going to achieve a goal. Because if you take enough, freedom away from someone, if you shut down someone, if you take their freedom away, if you take their options away or whatever, or you harass or nag them enough, you can help people get results. Like, think about this. I like many college students, was really not that great of a student, though I made good grades. What I had enforced in my life as a college student was I had no control over the syllabus. I had no control, and nor could I argue myself out of having to do an assignment. I had to show up for quizzes. I needed to take a quiz. I needed to make a passing grade. I had no say-so when those things would be due, and that's assignments, that's quizzes, that's exams, that's all of those things. Even if, and so here's the thing, is that I ended up succeeding and graduating from college, not because I had discipline in my life and not because I was really that smart. I had an enforcement that was like, okay, if whatever you do all semester, it doesn't matter if it's, because for me, it was like many people. It's exam week and everybody's at Waffle House. I grew up in the South, so that's how I know this. We would be in Waffle House because it would be the only place that was open all night, eating chicken and waffles and drinking mass quantities of coffee and trying to stay awake. And we were not good students. From the standpoint of, we weren't disciplined. We're doing the same thing semester after semester, exam after exam, not being very responsible and with our lives, doing God knows what, until we got closer to the deadline and the deadline made something happen. So that what ends up happening for most people like me is that we don't really transform. We just have an accountability measure that, well, I got the job done. I checked the boxes off and now I've got my certificate or I've got my degree or whatever. And so people can go through life and people do it most of your big, if you want to say goals in life, get done really early in life, because in most cases, once somebody steps away from college, there's no one who's enforcing responsibility and accountability when it comes to the things that they want in their life. So unless they want a particular promotion or something like that, there's nobody who's holding anything over them and there's nobody who's enforcing anything. So here's what I'm saying about that. Our objective when we're working with people can't just simply helping people achieve goals. I want people to become who they were made to be, because I want them to take action that helps them get towards their goals, but I want them to learn. I want them to be transformed. I want them to see themselves differently. I want them to show up differently in life. So, great example of this would be, if I drew a picture of it, if I'm only achieving goals, then for the short term, this is the way that it's going to work. Like, if here's your goal right here. And so what can happen is that if this is kind of like average right here, this is their average life. What can happen is that somebody can rise up for the challenge to achieve the goal, but what will end up happening is that they'll end up declining and then they'll go back lazy again. And they'll still back, because what this is that this is thinking and habits down here continue, and action. So most people don't have thinking, habits, and action that's really transforming and is helping them become somebody new. So if we only coach to help somebody achieve a goal, then all we're ever going to see with people is this up and down nature of their life. And this is most people. If we coach towards becoming, here's what happens, which takes longer. That's why you want to work with people a little bit longer, because here's what happens is that this person, in the process of becoming, and they achieve a goal, if they're thinking and the habits that go along with it and the action stays up here, then now the next goal that they go after is operating from a higher level. And then the next goal that they go after is operating from now this new level. And then the next goal that they go after is now operating off of this level. So that what can actually happen is that we can actually help somebody get to their potential as opposed to just achieving a goal. Most coaching looks like this, because most coaches are just trying to make money and work with people. But I believe that we're in the transformation business. We're not just in the goal achieving business. I want to help somebody actually maximize their potential in life. And that's what that looks like. So to get to that, to help somebody become, it's not going to happen in a month. It's not going to happen in 2 months. I'd say minimum 3 months before we start seeing some of the things that's happening where their lenses and their limitations with how they see themselves, how they see other people, how they see their circumstances, how they see the world. It's only in that time that we'll begin to see those things be exposed, and we can confront those things with them, partner with them to help them get breakthrough so that now they're living from this level. And you know what happens when you take the lid off of somebody truly? Now their goals start to get bigger and they start seeing themselves differently and they start showing up in life differently and accomplishing new kinds of things. That's what I hope you as a coach have an ambition for, is we're in the transformation business and not simply in the goal setting business. Big differences there, and I don't think that most people are thinking in that way. But that's, and second thing that I would say along with that is that you as a coach, you need to be thinking about building a business. And you can't make a business off of onesies and twosies and only clients that you're working for a month, and now you got to go hustle and find another client. You want to find people who actually have things that they want in their life, that want to change, that want to go through a transformative process while achieving a goal. And knowing that those things take time, they're going to make a commitment, and you're going to make a commitment to them as well. For those of you who have not gotten trained and certified as a coach, let me pay the bills really quickly. And if I've got time to jump on, if we've got a simple question, then I can kind of answer that. But let me see if I can hide this thing. For those of you who have not gotten trained and certified as a coach, the best thing that I could offer you is actually our Jumpstart program. Our Jumpstart program at Life Coach Training Institute is not one-dimensional. Most schools are only about training and certifying you in the skills of coaching, and they hand you a certificate and they wave at you from the door, and you're on your own. And I found out the hard way when I went through coach training school, even though I had a couple of different brilliant trainers and mentors that they're precious to me to this day, but they did not help me build my business. And well, I mean, most coach training schools don't think that that's a part of their job. It ends, and now you're out there to try to figure it out. And so I was broke and had to try to figure it out. And what ended up happening for me, which ended up giving birth to Life Coach Training Institute, is that I had coaches who were in San Diego that were in the same boat, that they were like, hey, I went to coach training school. I got a certificate. I don't know how to get clients, but it seems like it's working for you. So I started working with coaches. And then that ended up being, well, 10 years now later, we've been in business for the last 10 years, helping coaches get trained and certified, and also build thriving practices. We're all about coaching proficiency, but we're also about you becoming successful as a business person. The Jumpstart program is an all-inclusive program that includes training, certification, and an A to Z business development roadmap. And we've got you covered in every area. So what's really included in this? Well, one of those things that's included, which we just did this past weekend, is our coaching bootcamp. It's our 3-day certification weekend. Our next one is coming up March 22nd through the 24th. We start on Friday. We end on Sunday. You knock out all of your training, you turn in your assignments and take your exam, and you've completed all of your certification in a single weekend. Now, here's the other thing that I'll say about it. You also get included in the Life Coach certification course, which is self-paced. So if you don't want to cram it all in the weekend, then you can go self-paced on demand, because in Jumpstart, you get access to that as well. You can go through all of the training on your own schedule, submit your assignments, and knock out your certification that way. Or one more option that you have is Tuesday night training, where you can come in, and every Tuesday I bring you week by week through the sessions, which allows you to ask all of your questions in a Q&A at the end of each one of those training sessions, as well as have the support and make connection with other coaches all over the world. And so we do that every Tuesday night from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central. That's 7 p.m. 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific. That's 7 p.m. Central. That's 8 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. So we've got you more than covered when it comes to an accelerated life coach certification program. But of course, that's not all. You also get access to Brain Camp. What we do is I take you through 13 hours of training, and it's step by step on your marketing messaging. We show you everything from how to develop your website. I show you how to write emails. I show you how to write sales pages. I show you how to craft emails with every detail that increases your open rate. You know that we have coaches that are sending emails out to their email list and they're getting opened at about a 70% rate. Most of you are thinking like, oh, well, email goes to junk mail, and all this other stuff. Just that alone is enabling our coaches to make thousands of dollars just through email marketing. But we cover everything in here. Search engine optimization. So I show you what does it take to actually get ranked really high on Google. I walk you through all of the steps, step by step, on every one of the aspects of not only knowing what your niche is, but in seconds, somebody coming on either your social media or on your website and understanding who it is that you help and what problems that you help people solve. We also have included in this the coaching product launch blueprint. Any of you who are thinking of whether it's launching your coaching practice or creating a group coaching program or an online course or a webinar or a workshop or retreat or any of those things, we bring you through brainstorming in 8 sessions. We go all the way from brainstorming all the way to every step, all the way up to launch. I show you how to do a pre-launch sequence, how to make a big pop for your release or your launch, but we literally walk you through every step of the way on how to do these things and create additional streams of income inside of your business. We've really covered everything inside of this Jumpstart program. You get 6 total courses, and it's only $97 a month. Now all of this includes your certificate. It includes a coaching toolkit. So we give you 5 starter tools to work with people. I also give you a book called 500 Powerful Coaching Questions. They're for every stage of a coaching session. We also give you a brandable welcome kit that has the coaching agreement in it. You can tweak it as much as you want, but it's all brandable. You can change the logos, you can change the text, you can change the font, you can do any of those things. But literally everything that involves you starting up your business, we have it covered within this program. $97 a month with a 3-month minimum commitment. Yes, it is too good to be true. And sometimes there are things that are almost too good to be true, except it is true. All of these things are available. If you've been out there looking around at different programs and everything else, and they're costing you thousands of dollars and everything else, hey, wouldn't this be worth the risk? Hey, sign up today. If you take a look around, you come to training tomorrow night, and you're like, man, this isn't worth it, I'll give you your money back. 3 days, we won't have any question about it. Basically what we do, 3 days or 20%. You go through 20%, more than 20% of the material. But if you're in that first 20% or 3 days or whatever, and you're like, hey, I don't think this is for me, then we'll actually work with you and send you your money back. No big deal. But I know that we give you extraordinary value, because you look at this, is this worth thousands of dollars? We know that it is. But we're trying to take all of your excuses away and make this happen for you. The link is actually inside the description of this video. So I'll just remind you, jump inside the description of the video and click in there, and you can get enrolled in about 90 seconds. Paul says, another Paul, by the way, this is 100% true. I have clients I've worked with for over 90 days, and there have been only recent transformation. If you made it within 90 days, great information. Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate that so much. All right. We are out of time because we've been going at it for almost an hour. Listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. If you have not gotten trained and certified as a coach, well, the link is inside the description. It'll take you about 90 seconds to get enrolled. And listen, you can start with us tomorrow night. I will be live at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. You'll immediately get enrolled in that, and you can join us tomorrow night and make this thing happen. Listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Have a great rest of your week and take care.